Alright, everybody. Alright, we are back. We are live. We are on air once again. Welcome to the stream. So, last night we spent a while. We played. We built a gunpla that I had saved since Christmas. I wanted to build it on stream, and I did, and that was fun. Tonight, to continue to make use of my top-down camera, I've had this sitting around my house now. Still haven't opened it for a couple months, actually. It's just I was waiting for something that I actually received a while ago, but then I forgot about, which were some card sleeves that I ordered. Because what I have, originally from a Kickstarter campaign, well, the original game was also a Kickstarter campaign. It's a deck building game called Star Realms. Now, for the normal Star Realms, I even got a point like I've been at this game for a while, so I got like this big box to carry all my different versions of the game, because there's the standard version and the various expansion packs, and I had all but a couple of them I was missing because they were Kickstarter exclusive expansions. I couldn't seem to get them any other way, which was disappointing. Which the in 19 was it in 2019, there was another Kickstarter campaign for a collector's version of the game, where all the main series cards were holographic. And long story short, I'm just like, well, fuck yeah, I want that. I love the game. I've been collecting everything for it, pretty much, and I played a whole bunch of it. They even have a mobile version of the game because it's always hard to get someone else to play the physical version with you. So yay, thanks for making that. But when he talked about making this collector's edition, I'm like, hell yeah, I signed up for the Kickstarter right away. Then COVID happened. So it's like, shit. So there was countless delays, much like there was for everything else in the world. And finally, a few months ago, he had the creator, Robert Dowery? I think it's Robert Dowery. I have to look up. He got everything finalized, ready to go. Things were made and shipped out. And I think this box arrived for me in, I want to say October. I think I've been sitting on this since then. And I hadn't opened it. This box is still taped shut. I just had it off to the side. I was happy that I had it and I wanted to open it. But one thing, as with any collectible card game, even though this is not a traditional collectible card game where you just buy booster packs and try to find special cards, you buy one set, you have all the cards. As you use the cards, dirt and oils from your hands, you kind of get absorbed into the card stock and start to look a little shitty over time as they're used. So I'm like, you know what? I got this collector's edition. It's pretty and shiny. I want to keep it clean. And at the same time, though, I don't want to just never use it and keep it sealed forever. So I went to my local board game shop, because yes, we have one of those near me. It's literally, I believe, called Board Game Central. They just have all kinds of board games, of course, other collectible stuff for like Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing accessories, Warhammer, you name it. Basically a hobby shop, but with a twist. And I found out that they could special order me some card sleeves that have the Star Realms logo, just like the back of the cards do. They're $60 per pack. I got 3 of them. I'm pretty sure that is enough sleeves for all the cards. If it isn't, then I guess there's going to be some I'm going to try not to mess with until I have more sleeves. But I got 3 packs of 60. I think I should be good. 180 sleeves. A lot. And at this point, I kind of forget what this whole pack kind of contains. I know that there's holographic cards, and I believe a storage box, much like the universal storage box I already have for the standard version of the game. Whether or not there is anything else fancy, I kind of forget. Though what I do recall from when I placed my original order, there was add-ons, and I selected the two. Hey, Nick, how's it going? Of the add-ons, I selected the two expansion packs that I was missing for the standard set. So that way I could 100% complete my normal set of the game. I'm fairly certain that they didn't make those holographic too. If they did, that will actually kind of suck. But yeah, it's like my big giant box here of the standard set. We'll finally have the missing expansions. They should be in this box as well. But I'm super excited to check out all the holographic cards one by one. I'll try to, when I switch to the top down, I'll try to show them all off as clearly as I can. And yeah, and welcome, Napalm. How you doing? I think I missed you last night. I don't think you caught my long stream of building my new Gundam model. I can expect that. You just moved, if I'm not mistaken. But welcome in. Switch to my top-down scene. You were looking? Ah, no worries. Nothing wrong with that at all. You're going to screen projector that there so I can see what I'm doing. I don't know how. I guess you didn't really catch most of my explanation, but basically, this is the collector's edition of a deck building game, like basically a board game that I've been a fan of for years, close to a decade. But they came out with a collector's edition on a Kickstarter campaign in 2019. That, of course, I immediately signed up for. And I actually received this box, I think, back in October, but I've been sitting on it since then because I wanted to get card sleeves for all the cards so that they were protected. Since, as you know, messing around with cards over time, dirt and oils on your hands kind of start to ruin them. And I wanted these pretty cards to stay pretty. I haven't opened this yet. Didn't even peek inside the initial shipping box. This is all gonna be fun for me. Move the mic for a moment. Okay. So this thing looks pretty as hell. Even the box art is kind of fun. So the standard universal storage box, which I have here, obviously done a little different. It's a little smaller. Pairing it. Not that the camera angle shows that. Let me. Oh, yeah. So a lot deep, wider that way. A little bit, about a centimeter on this edge, but it's hard to find a way to show that angle. So there we go. And thickness-wise, because I'm curious, I don't think I'll lose everything if I do that yet. I'm hitting the microphone. It is actually a little thinner, funny enough. Huh. But let's move the standard one away. Oh, that's actually showing everything that's contained inside, it looks like. Right, the new score keeping tool. It was normally done in the classic version with just these cards that all had like the different number system on them, and you covered and placed them accordingly, or you'd use pen and paper. So I was really happy that they came up with this idea. But I become a little curious now because since I know I ordered extras and they're not contained in the other box, are they mixed into my collector's set here? Like now I'm actually worried that I'm missing stuff that should have been here. I hope that's not the case. I will, of course, be looking as carefully as I can. Now, I need to open this. It's wrapped in plastic. I don't want to seem. I'm gonna do too much. I just poked where there was already a theme for the box itself. Oh, that smell of something new that was just wrapped in plastic. So I like all the different ships in that here. It's not just like one smooth surface. They have depth to them. They put a little bit of extra prettiness, I guess, into the box. I don't know whatever word there would be for it, but they have some texture to them, which is kind of neat. Now is this a pull off? Oh, it's a flip. Nice. It's a strong magnet feels on here. Ooh, okay. So I'm gonna need to move some things. They only have so much space to work with. Giant rule book. Much different from the classic. Now there's a game board. Funny enough, I actually have, there is a third party alternative that I already have, but it's not a hard board. It's more of a roll up mat. Like, that's kind of cool. The art on that side is different on the other. Yes, it is. This is just more of a generic, plain sort of space look. Okay. And we have our boss cards for when we do the because there's ways to play it solo. You don't have, but you can also do this with other people. So that's pretty. Let's check out the scorecards. So it's a little sliding dials. What is the max? Probably 99, I'd assume. Yeah. Which is kind of neat. Oh, you could argue that that's 100. That's kind of neat. Oh no, wait, that's damn. 199 would be the total. Didn't even know that the other side was more. How many of these do we get? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. Because the typical Star runs, you can play with a minimum of 2 people, but they're intending for it to be up to 6. I feel like you can continue to increase that number just by adding more of the base set to the game, but I'm not certain. Okay, these are just the dividers. So if I were to store the rest of my stuff in here, I can organize it all. These are, let's see, let's have a look. I just realized that I'm off camera. I'm really curious about those cards down there. I mean, I'm trying to be patient because I really don't know if the extras I ordered are in here, and it's starting to worry me. These are a nice plastic. Oh, they do have like kind of a cardboard middle, but it's like a very kind of hard plastic outside. It's kind of weird. These are all just the different dividers to the different parts of the game. You could separate your things. Several personal decks. Okay, I get what they're going for with those. Interesting, interesting. They have made this so despite it being the collector's edition, I can put all of my stuff in here and no longer use my storage box I already have. Some foam bricks for separating everything. Probably all intended for over here, but be a snug fit. Okay, before I open any of these, I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna look up my order from forever ago because I'm a little concerned that I am missing things. And if I am, then I'm also kind of glad that I'm doing this live because I have the VOD to refer to for stuff. Gotta get to my keyboard. Let's go to Kickstarter. Of course, not showing my login in that right now. But enter my password. What is my password for this one? Is it this? know, the curse when you have like 30 different passwords. That was the password. Okay. That message is not related to this. Act projects. Okay, so here was the thing. I want the updates. I want information about my original order. View pledge. There's. Okay. So, one concern is X says it's supposed to be over 250 foil cards. I will not have enough sleeves. That's funny. Yeah, those are. No way. So, it includes all versions of every card from Promo Pack 1, the Gambit set, and all 4 Crisis Pack. Oh, it includes some of the expansions. Which is neat, but I could have sworn I also ordered more of the expansions that I was missing. Hmm. And up their website. That's in expansions. Colony Wars is one of those I was missing. Okay, let me see. Gonna put that there. Two expansions I was missing were Stellar Allies and Lost Fleet. You cannot buy because they were Kickstarter exclusives. But I know that I added them in. Because afterwards you can add things. This isn't saying that I added anything. I know that this was like 4 years ago, but I remember doing it. Which is really bugging me. Go to intermission for now. Is there a chance that this email I thought was spam was related? Totally still spam. God damn it. Hit the wrong button. I'm still excited to open the stuff up, but I'm a little bothered that I know I ordered a thing and I'm not seeing it. Yeah, there they are. There's the extras. I added them in. Okay, so I do have the email that proves I added them in when I filled out the survey. I added in the 2 expansions I'm missing, Lost Fleet and Stellar Allies. And got Universal Storage Box Dividers for High Alert. And I got the High Alert bundle, 4 packs. And High Alert First Strike. So I even got more than I remembered getting. Spent another extra $50 to do so. So where are those? Okay, so I'm gonna minimize that for the moment. But I'm gonna have to write an email to ask where those are. Because like I know I didn't open this right away, but if I ordered those extra things, you'd think they'd be sent. It's paid for. Oh, I'll do that after. Does bug me a bit. Either way, let's get back to opening this up and looking at all the prettiness. Because I still like this, and I'm still happy that I have it. Even if I'm missing things that I expected to be in here. Minor grape. Minor grape. I'm gonna do my best to not let that completely sour my mood. Since I now know I do not have enough sleeves for everything, I am going to not open every single one of these yet. If 250 is the total, and there are 5 packs here. No, it's more than 250, so I'm just going to assume that each of these are 60. And I have 3 packs of 60 sleeves, so I'm only going to be opening 3 of these. Based on what I'm seeing, these 2 are potentially identical. Seems to be 2 of the base set, so I will leave 1. And this is the expansion stuff. I can see that later. So these 3 should cover what I got. So these are going to be the 3 that I open. Where's the seam on that? I can see like the fold. That's direction. Yeah, I can see a line on this. There's supposed to be like a peel up portion of this. And I don't want to use a sharp object. Where is the seam? There we go. I'm catching something with my finger. Take a little. That down on there. Get an idea. Gonna one at a time. Double plastic. Nice. Keep the finger contact to a minimum, you know. There. Noticed. Okay. Don't worry, I didn't notice for others though. Oh, I totally did. Some of these are definitely sticky. Okay. Okay. Could be worse. So these ones are the start are all the uh, initial cards that each player gets. You get, got my head, I believe it's 6 scouts and 2 vipers. Might be 8. Been a while since I've thought about that specific detail. Though these are not the prettiest of the cards because they're just the standard cards that each player starts with. I'm still loving the holographic, but got 2 on there. Great. Yeah. What's amusing about all these cards is they clearly did not cheap out on the card stock itself. They are quite firm, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's because how they made the whole thing holographic or some other reasoning, but it is quite amusing. Because it makes them also clearly going to be able to last better. For these next 2 vipers, I'm probably going to count scouts that go because I'll answer my own question of own memory confusion whether or not there is 6 or 8 per player. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, 7 does appear to be 8. Start with 10 cards. 8 scouts and vipers. I'm amused that this whole deck is entirely player starter hands. Like, the whole pack is just a lot of the same 2 cards. No. Thankfully, it was just a scout. Yes, my love.
What the fuck? And then like heard this fucking 1,000 comments are saying thing like the fuck is
Okay. Great question. Yeah. So something kind of frustrating about this, since we're on the topic of frustrating things, you don't know if you overheard me. There's stuff missing. The collector's set is here, yes, but I paid for extras to complete my standard set. They're not in the box, and I looked at the email to make sure I didn't fuck up. I definitely ordered it, so I'm gonna be emailing like, hey, like it could be in a separate thing. That's fine. Maybe it is, and maybe it just hasn't been shipped yet. It's annoying, but okay. Yeah, like I've had this box sitting since like October because I was waiting to get these sleeves, which I don't have enough of, by the way. Um, I determined that real quick because I was going through the email and I saw it has over 250 cards in it that are holographic, and each of those packs are 60 sleeves, and I only got 3 of them, so I need at least 2 more. But minor details. That's okay. I can get more sleeves and just not open all the cards right away. But apparently, the expansions that were Kickstarter exclusives that I can't order separately, like the only way to get them was through a Kickstarter campaign that I paid for, are not in this box. So I'm definitely like I'm gonna first look because maybe they are definitely someone else already asked that question like, hey, where's my extras? And he might like say, yeah, those are going to be going out at X date. Cool, good to know. And of course, I happened to have an email recently that was like from Curator, like that looked like a scam about like, oh, you weren't home to receive your package, and I was just ignoring it and made me want to like look at it closer. I did. I opened the email and I was like, yeah, it's definitely a scam. But it made me think, could that be the thing I'm waiting for? Yeah, but minor details. Uh, and what's kind of gotten funny is some of these cards are stuck together because they're fresh. So it's like I'm sometimes putting 2 in a sleeve and I'm not noticing right away. I'm gonna do a double check in each of them. The pack 1, which is all player starter hands. Funny enough, they have it set up to play with like the capacity of players, which I thought was neat. Because you know how I bought several starter sets, so I can add because every starter set was considered 2 players. That's kind of how they broke it down, but you still had a lot of extra cards that just seemed totally ridiculous, and I would just only use the starter hands anyway. Clearly, they realized their own mistake because they have starter hands for up to 6 people as an inclusion instead of starter hands for 2 people plus the base set of cards. Now it's starter hands for up to 6 people and then the base set of cards instead of 6 sets of the base set, which is so much smarter. Like I'm glad that they realized that people were mainly buying the extra sets because they wanted more people, but they would not use the full extra base set because that was seemingly redundant. But minor details. I'm just going to make sure there's no stuck cards in any of these, or it looks like I have 2 in a sleeve. Before I move on to the next thing to sleeve. Yes. Oh, yeah. That's how it goes. I love you too. Oh, no. Not those. Those are always a lot. Love you too. The only thing I could have done better about what I'm doing is if I wore latex gloves in the process, but too tedious. It would make all this a little harder to do. And I'm already going to this effort to keep this pretty forever. I like it because, like, my kids, my eldest might be able to grasp this game if I help her enough times, but not yet for my youngest. There's a lot of, like, niche rules and shit. But I want her to be able to play with me one day. But of course, wouldn't be using my collector set with my kid, who's won't treat it with the same kind of care. But now that I have the collector set, my base set, I'll care less about. Because that's just how that goes. So to show the 2 variations, real quick, we have the Scout, its holographic glory, and the Viper, which is your basic attack card. Basically, Scouts are trade values, Vipers are combat values. Each card has a trade or a combat value, plus potentially other abilities. Yeah, it's all pretty. So it's and I will probably mess around and do like a little play of. I might pull out the digital version rather than mess with these. That was 55 cards. Since I have 5 sleeves left. First pack. Okay. Oh, no signal. Why no signal? What did I do? Oh, I see what I did. My keyboard did a thing. I got next thing. FAQ. Updates. Comments. Okay, people are receiving add-ons separately. Okay. There's definitely they were definitely sent separately. There's people still looking for them. I'd love like tracking or something about that. Like, come on. What is this? WarehouseTNFullX.com. That I supposedly ordered. Is that a Canada Post tracking number? Could I honestly be finding the answer to that? Because I just noticed I have like something about thing. That might even be it. So I might have just literally discovered now that the thing was shipped separately, and that I actually just received an email recently about the tracking for it. That's kind of funny. That tracking number is valid. So I am going to set myself up for notifications on this. Can't remember. Email notifications. There we go. That's funny. That's actually quite literally likely the item. That email. That'd be standard postal service. So this random one that said it was Pure Later, not it. And that's totally like the email is so definitely not Pure Later. Fastwebnet.it. Yeah. No. But it's kind of funny. I had no idea this was being sent separately, but I at least confirmed they were sent. That's what matters. If I had continued to not open this, uh, I would have received that package, opened it like, what the hell is this? And then been extra confused, like, did I just receive double, not knowing that the box here had nothing? Kind of funny. All right, now this is the first half of the standard deck. The second half of standard deck, so there's some other stuff in there too, because that Gray's Gambit. No, that is expansion. This is standard set. Okay. After I get this portion of the unboxing done, I am going to probably mess with something. Maybe I'll throw on Felony or Fantasy if there's enough people hanging out in the chat. Not as fun to run it solo, though I still totally will. Truth, I'd almost be tempted to run it anyway, but maybe like I run the corner. I don't know. Many thoughts. Many thoughts. Let's just use the top here. Let's rotate that. Move in a little. Yeah, let's not kill our back doing this, right? Right? Enough of that last night. Like hunched over while I was building that model. Use. Pinch my finger. It's okay. Minor details. Minor details. Alright. It also brings me up higher, closer to the camera too, so that's smart. Yeah, I like that. Feel that you're 2 cards right as I picked it up. Oh. We got the Imperial Frigate. Hello. How you doing today? Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, these are all so pretty. Now that I confirmed the deal. So yeah, hi, welcome in. So I am, as the title of the stream indicates, I am opening a collector's edition of a game that I've been following for, I'm pretty sure, about a little over 10 years now. The game, of course, is called Star Realms. I have like the standard version of it. I actually have 4 sets of the standard version because I needed to for reasons, as well as many of the expansions to this card game. It's not your typical collectible card game where you're buying booster packs. It's a deck building game, so it works more like a board game. You buy, you buy your base set, and you have all the cards the base set contains. There's not, but the expansions just add new, unique cards and ways to play. But back in 2019, pre-COVID, a Kickstarter launched. Again, this game was originally a Kickstarter in the first place, but a new Kickstarter launched to announce a collector's version of the game where every card is holographic and pretty. Of course, thanks to COVID, there was massive delays. I've actually had this box, like fully packaged and everything, sitting in my house since October because I was waiting to get card sleeves to put all the cards in because I want to keep them pretty, like indefinitely. I apparently don't even have enough sleeves. I grabbed 180 sleeves, thinking that's probably more than enough. And actually, this thing contains over 250 holographic cards. So I'm not going to be opening absolutely everything until I get more. But initially, I got a little concerned because when I opened this up, there was seemingly things missing because I put on some add-ons to my purchase of things I was missing for the generic set, because there's some Kickstarter exclusive expansions that they don't sell separately, and they run in the box, and I'm like, oh no, what the hell? But I just learned that they are being sent separately. In fact, I have the tracking number in my email already. I ignored because it wasn't clear it came for this. I thought it was just some spam email. So, they'll come later. But right now, I'm just kind of going through. I've just did all of the player default hands, because everyone starts with 2 cards, the Scouts and Vipers, and you have a hand of 10 cards, and that's what you start with. And as you play the game, you build your deck and combat your opponent. And these seem to be all the base set cards for your initial trade deck that you buy from. It's starting with the... Oh, wow. Am I totally forgetting the name of this faction? Star Empire. Jeez. Starting with the Star Empire cards, the yellow cards. This is one of the bases you play. Of course, it has all the different stats and effect. I will probably play a little bit of it after I get some of these. Even after I get these ones all carded or sleeved, I might even just throw up, because there's a way to play solo, though you can play with 5 other people for a total of 6 players. But if you don't have people to play with, they came up with a kind of like a raid boss sort of thing. It's like Space Battleship with cards. A little more complex than that, but yes. There's another base here. Royal Redoubt. I am loving the holographic. Like it just looks so nice. Ooh. A lot of these are sticking together. They use quite a thick card stock. I'm quite impressed. Like they spent some money to make sure that these would last. Like, these are very hard. Like, if I were to fold that, it would be there'd always be damage, but it would be like extremely noticeable. The survey ship. This is probably, like, from this faction, this is one of the more useful cards. It's cheap, and it allows you to draw another. It's like I almost always will try to buy them when they come up as available to make my deck stronger and kick my opponent's bum. They do have a digital version of the game for those of us that either can't get people together to play the physical copy, or just in general don't want to have a physical copy, because they were smart that way. Another base, War World. Ooh. Good stuff. Last night, I think you missed out, since I know that you play Gundam Evolution. Last night, I was actually building a Gundam model of... It was the Perfect Strike Freedom, which was a custom version of the Strike from Gundam Seed. That is from the Gundam Battle Log series. Barter World, we're now on to another faction, the Trade Federation. Come on. I love the art on a lot of these. It's just... everything about this game I have loved since its original release. Central Office. Holographic. I'm glad that the camera's picking up the holographic. Like, that's just fun. They did a very good job with the foil. The command ship This is a very powerful card, but very expensive card. It's one of those ones where if you can't afford it and you're worried your opponent can, you try to get it removed from the trade row while you play, because it heals you and you draw 2 cards, and with an allied ship from the same faction out, you destroy your opponent's base. Stupid powerful card. But of course, every faction has a powerful card, and everyone has cheap, useful cards. Trade Federation, I'm pretty sure, is the only one. Come on, focus. Come on. There we go. Had it for a moment. There we go. The cutter. Yeah, every faction, of course, has useful cards, and each faction has different strengths and weaknesses. Majority of the Trade Federation cards are healing and supply, because they're the Trade Federation. They're not built for combat, though they still have some ships that do some decent damage. Most of them do more damage because they have allied cards out. That's why the allied ability, which is what the symbol down here is for, a lot of them are combat based. So it's like strength in numbers. So they're bases. Like this one here, the defense center. This is one of the ones that you have an optional choice. Come on, focus camera. It's not bad. So when you have an optional choice, trade keeps kingdoms running. Exactly. When you have an optional choice, each turn you can choose to either gain 3 authority, which is your health, or do 2 extra damage. And if there's an allied out, you do, again, 2 extra damage. Outposts, which is indicated by the shield icon and the outpost above it. When you have an outpost based, those have to be destroyed in order for your opponent to damage you directly. So they have to destroy those first. If it's just a generic base that is not considered an outpost, they can ignore it and attack you directly, or attack the base. Sorry. The Embassy Yacht. It's another card that is fun to use. Come on, focus camera. I know you can. And this is one that, you have 2 bases in play, you draw 2 cards. Like, fuck yeah. Drawing cards. It's useful, no matter which of the factions that you try to comprise your deck mostly of. You do want to try to stick to 1 to 2, typically, because you want to make use of your ally abilities. If you can't utilize them because you have, a jack of all trades and master of none, your opponent will likely kick your butt sooner unless they're doing the same thing and making that mistake. Federation Shuttle. Supply and healing. Healing when you have others out. So their cheapest card, it costs only 1 trade point to purchase from the trade row. There we go. We got a flagship. One of the more powerful cards from the Trade Federation's portion. Wish that camera would focus better on drawing a card, do some damage, did some healing. I love all the art. I don't know if it was one artist or a few artists that did all these cards originally. I'd have to look it up. The Freighter. Now, this is one of those cards that even if you're mostly playing a different faction, if you can afford to buy this from the trade row, you should. Because it's also worth 4 trade. Whenever you bring that out, you have a higher chance to purchase just about anything that happens to be on the trade row. Because it just has such a high trade value for your purchases. It may cost 4 to get initially, but it also provides 4 more. And you're because it's a deck building game. I don't know if you've played deck building games before. Port of call. Fun. So with deck building games, everyone starts with the same cards, and they have values for it doing damage or purchasing other cards. And there's a trade row that is shared. It's in the middle. Everyone can essentially purchase from using their trade values. And you build your deck. Like when you buy a card, it initially goes to your discard pile. Once you've gone through your whole deck, you then shuffle your discard pile into your deck again and continue drawing your cards each turn. And you're just always adding more. The trade escort focus. There we go. So it is a strategy game, of course. And if you're not inclined to the strategy genre, then it may not be for you. But if you like a game of intellect, so to speak, it is definitely a fun game to play. Now we're moving into the blob. On the third of the faction. Battle Blob. This is a combat-oriented faction. Like, this is one of their stronger cards, but it does 8 damage on its own. And if you have other blob cards out, you're drawing a card, which is useful. Oh, cool. I appreciate that. I'm glad you think that my stream is more entertaining than your game. And the Battle Pod. Now, scrap ability. The only 2 factions that have them are the Blobs and the 4th faction that I haven't shown yet, which is the Machinist faction, I think, off the top of my head. Scrap abilities are useful because it's the utility ability. The idea being you remove a card from the game entirely to reduce cards in your deck, which is useful because your base cards from like your standard starting hand, like your scout ship, it's just worth a single trade. Well, that's a card in your deck. Well, once you have plenty of cards that have higher trade values, you don't need this anymore. So you get a card that has a scrap ability. Like now, that previous one was just for the trade row, but if you have one that has a scrap ability, like remove a card from your hand or your discard pile from play, well, you can get rid of this and only be pulling out useful cards. So it's the long term, you want to do that. Pod. Blob Carrier. Now, some cards have an innate scrap ability. When the next one comes up, I'll go into more detail. Blob Carrier. Another high damage card. Now, I have seen people that like focus heavily on Blob win a game in a handful of turns, but that's where each card has, pros and cons and the perfect opponent to it. For example, the Trade Federation has a lot of healing cards, so even if your opponent's Blob and they're doing a shit ton of damage, if you're repairing it after each match, then it's just a battle of attrition. And overall, you might do more healing than they do damage. That one lets you get something for free, yes. That's an allied ability of the Blob Carrier. Acquire any ship for free and put it on the top of your deck. And I like when it's any ship. Sometimes it's like of a cost of, say, 4 or less. Cost being the upper right-hand number here in the corner. But when it's any card, it's like, fuck yeah. But that's also why it costs 6 to even purchase this card initially. See, now we have the Blob Destroyer. Its allied ability allows you to destroy a target base or. So it's like you can choose to do both abilities or one or the other. You can scrap a card in the trade row. So if there's just a card that neither you or the opposing player is planning to purchase and it's just in the way, You scrap it out of the trade row. You can draw a new card from the deck to the trade row and maybe purchase it instead. Again, I will show the gameplay after I get all these sleeved. I will shuffle and I'll do one of the little raid battles that I can do solo without an actual person to play against. One of their cheap cards next. There's a lot. All the factions do have like very low cost cards that have their uses. The Blob Fighter does 3 damage, and you draw a card if you have another blob card on the field. So yes, you want to draw cards. You want to bring out more than 5 cards a turn if you can. I'm pretty sure the only faction that doesn't have any draw cards is the Machinist faction. Possibly. No, they have some. They have very few. Snare Blob Fighter. The fact that these cards are sticking together, it's amusing me. Here's another base card. This is the Blob Wheel. Now, this base being not an outpost, this can be ignored or destroyed. And it has an innate scrap ability, which I forgot to talk about. So when you have a garbage can icon on the lower left, that means it has an innate scrap ability, which means I can scrap this at any time on my turn. So if I have this in play and I say I don't need a different card that can scrap cards to do so, I can just say, hey, I'm going to scrap this Blob Wheel and put it out of play to get 3 additional trade this turn. Or whatever the ability happens to be for the card in question. But cards without an innate scrap ability have to be scrapped through another card's ability. Because, they got to add a layer of complexity. They can't make it too easy or people would just kind of... The games would be too quick. I'd say an average game, like a player versus player game, can take a minimum of 15 minutes. Blob World, a very powerful base. You can get to draw a card for each blob card you played that turn. And since blob cards also have a lot of draw abilities, if you think about it, as you play blob cards, you are going to draw more blob cards. And if they also had draw, like I've had a game where I've been able to put like 20 cards on the field, even though your hand size is 5 cards. Because of this card, if you have a whole bunch of blob cards, you can do some insane amounts of damage. And that's another thing too. If you are playing against a person using blob cards, you see that in the trade row, you want to get rid of it. You either purchase it yourself, even if you don't have a use for it, or you scrap it before they get to buy it. Because between that and things like this Mothership, and it innately draws a card, but if you have another blob, you draw another. Powerful cards are always expensive. 7 trade to purchase. The Ram Simple Combat card. Holographic of that one is not as big. Seems kind of minimal. Must be all the reds. They must not come out night. Ships look alive. Yes. The blob is kind of like a... I wouldn't call it entirely organic race. But I don't know how much science fiction you know, but most people have at least heard of Stargate, and specifically Stargate Atlantis. There was a race called the Wraith, which their hive ships were like a half and half. It was technology, yes, but it was kind of an organic technology. Their ships were technically alive, and their hulls would regenerate over time, almost like a living creature, mending a wound. That's closer to what the blob are in this game. Obviously, we don't typically see the what the species themselves look like that pilot these things, but I imagine that they are of that variety. Another base called the Hive. Yeah, because I don't believe they have it where it's like all the ships are considered to be just a living creature, but in the sense of like sentient, but there is another being inside it that controls a non-sentient organic ship. It's a weird way to phrase things, but the trade pod, our cheap useful card. Wait, did that one have some stuck together? Oh, it did. That's funny. Oh, maybe it didn't. I thought there was a second card in the sleeve. Trying to make sure I don't miss any more stuck together. Because when I was doing the first chunk of the player cards there, I had a few that got double sleeved because I just didn't know. Now, where the heck are the rest of the machine cult? That's weird. I guess they weren't all mixed in there like I thought. So, defense spot, we're on to the machine cult now. And this is one of the ones that has the scrap ability for in your hand or the discard pile. And if it has a double ability, if I have two or more bases in play, I gain. How much damage is that? Let's focus there. That 8? It is 8, but I don't know why that camera will just not focus. Sorry. Like, that's powerful, Zach. I don't remember. Didn't think Defense Bot was part of the base set. Must be a little forgetful. This game might make a good anime if they do it right. Honestly, that is probably quite true. Refreshing. Oh yeah. This is just my liked songs list on Spotify. Doesn't matter if it's a theme to a TV show or anime, or an actual song, or just something that's totally a meme. I just threw on just about everything that I like. And I use that on streams like this where I'm not really playing a game so much as I'm just kind of hanging out. The music doesn't save to my VOD anyway because I have it on a separate channel. But, you know, good stuff. As a matter of fact, people watching on YouTube, if any are, don't even hear any music because YouTube's a bit more of a pain in the bum about it, but it is what it is. And I'm just checking to make sure I didn't double sleeve any cards before I move on to the next chunk. I'm fairly confident that I didn't, but I'd hate to find out later. It is quite possible I already do like it, and I just don't know it by name. But I would happily look it up to find out. The only thing I do though with that same like song list, even though I try to put everything I like, I do end up removing songs that don't uh, have like a more upbeat flow to it because I try to keep everything higher energy for my streams. And I also have the profanity filter thing on, so some songs I don't end up. Uh, it's a metal song, hit the vibe right. Yeah, no worries. I got some metal on my list too. Uh, like Baby Metal. Fuck yeah! If you haven't heard of them, you should look it up. So okay, I'm seeing different versions of that song. You want me to look at the Sabaton version? Apparently, it was also one by Kate Bullinger, whoever that is. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm gonna get a tissue so I can clear this out. But just a second. All right. Sorry about that. I was up, I'm like, you know what, I need to pee, so I did that. But is that a DC chair? Yes, it is. So I am a massive fan of the Flash. He has been my hero since before it was cool to like superheroes. Just saying. Uh, my chair is from a company up here in Canada called EZBerry. They have a bunch of DC themed chairs for a few heroes. I ended up getting this 2-ish years ago. I think now. It's been a while. I got it during like a good sale and such, but I actually just noticed that I missed a card. Space Station. You our Empire's card there. Alright. You in East Canada? Yes, I'm in East Canada. It is 2 in the morning for me right now. But 1 second. I will pull up the. They are actually based quite locally for me. But that is their site there. Funny enough, I actually did the unboxing of my chair live as well when I got it. But uh, oddly enough, the base of the chair, it was missing the wheels in the box. And I'm like sitting here like confused on my live stream, and like well live I emailed the company like, hey, so I'm missing the wheels for some reason. And not 10 minutes later they responded with a big apology and like, we're sending them right now, I'm sorry this happened to you. And I got them like the next day, maybe the day after. But they actually have a few more designs now than I remember. Well, they have Mortal Kombat themed ones now too. Some based on Apex Legends. Here's a wooden chair. Well, uh, not that you have to get a fancy chair, but if you're ever in the market for one, with it being a Canadian company, at least you're not having to worry about the cost of the dollar as much. Uh, so like you look at their website, it's in your currency, and they're pretty good with local shipping too. You're not paying out the wazoo for it. All PU leather. Lots of fun. But you wanted me to listen to a song and I hadn't clicked it yet. So let's do that now. It's right at the end of this one. Yes. Be the next one that I open. Got these. We got like the scorecards. These are new compared to the base set, which I'll show the differences too after because I have my base set off to the side here. But much better system than what they first came out with, which used a bunch of cards with different numbers on it. Fun fact: the lady was a real war hero in World War I. Oh, that's pretty cool. So they made a song about them. That's pretty cool. I was done. I'll just hit shuffle back on my liked song list. We'll see what plays, but I like mixing it up. And I do think I have heard this song before, but I would never have known it by name. It's just one of those ones where I might have just heard it in passing, like, oh, I like the sound of that. Really, I like fucked up the edge of this. There you go. Oh yeah. I peeled the plastic. I like dented a couple cards. Really? Oh, you can't. I'm not sure if you could actually tell on the camera. You kind of can, like this little mark here. Like, really? Really? It's so hard to keep them pretty. Oh, not all these cards are base set. I know they're not. Damn it. Opened the wrong one. Kind of bugs me. These are. Oh, well. They're still pretty. Just, damn it. These are expansions. But how can I know? There you go. Mega Mech. I don't even recognize this. This is new to me. I like it though. It's just a tank. A normal tank. No, it's not a normal tank because it's in space. And instead of treads, it flies. It's a flying tank. That red on the back here, that's from like the thrusters. So it's a tank with a jet engine. I do like that this is like an aircraft carrier in space. Fighter base here. Yes, my love. Okay, fair enough. Come on. Oh wow, these are so stuck. Imperial Trader. I like the look of that one. Nice sleek look. I feel like I'm gonna break them every time I separate these cards. Hear like the cracking of like the plastic sticking. Destruction Hauler. Interesting. Trade Raft. A little bit. A little bit. Bob card. The Obliterator. Interesting. I think it's the first time I've seen an ability that is based on the opponent having extra bases. Extra 6 damage, huh? Cool. These few cards here, they're actually completely new. I haven't seen these before. Or so this must be some of the new cards that they added. Trade Wheel. Basic base. Ah, the gambits. Okay, so these, they're a whole. I know of these ones already, though there might be new ones. I'm just gonna separate some of them. No, I don't want to sit here playing with the cards. We're gonna put them in sleeves still, because everything is gonna be sleeved eventually. So the gambits, these are an optional expansion that you mix into your trade deck, and the difference being is when one of these cards gets flipped up from the trade deck, then it effect automatically activates. It affects either all players, sorry, in the same way, or the player whose turn it is one way and whose turn it is not a different way. They can totally mix up your game. Sometimes it's like just take out all the cards in the trade row. Sometimes it's like you have to discard a couple of cards or you lose X amount of health, things like that. So this one was the black hole, which are less than 2. Okay, so it's the same idea. So discard 2 cards, but if you don't, you lose 4 health for each player you don't, for each card you don't discard. It's a fun one. Just ways to make the game more interesting, right? Before I get I'm tempted to quickly, after I like get through these, go and take out some of my other card sleeves that are just generic sleeves that are not themed to Star Realms. Because I'm disappointed I don't have enough themed ones, but I'd rather still put everything in a sleeve. I just might. So this Comet. Each player may scrap up to 2 cards in their hand or discard pile. These move a couple cards from play. Yes, please. Now, that could also be a bad card because say you got that early on before you've purchased many things from the trade row. Then it's like, shit, like I need those few cards I have. Because if you have to get rid of 2 of your trade cards, limits your purchase ability. Galactic Summit. Each player gains 7 health. Absolutely. They call health authority in the game, but it's just easier for keeping it simple. Quasar. Each player draws 2 cards. Nice. Supernova. Player loses 5 health, and you scrap all cards in the trade row. Ugh. Those ones would not be fun. Trade mission. Each player currently taking the turn gains 4 trade, and may put the next ship they acquire that turn directly on the top of their deck, and each other player draws 2 cards. That's great. I like that. That benefits everybody. I'm not sure what's more beneficial, being the person that gets to uh, purchase just about anything in the trade row, or the people that get to draw 2 more cards before their turn even starts. Warp jump. Each player draws 3 cards and puts 2 of those cards back in any order. Yeah. Useful. And one thing I forgot to. So this one. Order fort. I forgot to mention on the lower right, beside the defense value, there's that winged symbol with a letter. That's indicating what set that each card is from. This one with the F, I think it's Frontiers, possibly. But that's one of the reasons I'm a little confuzzled. Core cards. Right, the core cards don't have any symbol. Now, this set I am aware of. Messed with them a bunch. Troll bot, useful. Machine Cult is Machine Cult and the Star Empire are probably my two favorite to mess with when I play, because Star Empire has a lot of draw card abilities, and then Machine Cult scrap abilities, so it's great. It's like you can have it to a point theoretically where you get rid of every card in your deck that doesn't have a draw card ability, and then you're laughing because like every turn you're pulling out your whole deck. But again, this is also assuming that you manage to purchase all the cards, and the other person doesn't. Cargo launch. Draw a card, and it's a cheap one. Only costs one trade to buy it. Dark Fortress. Well, you're at least the only one who's actually chatting. Definitely have a few people that are just kind of lurking. Based on what I'm seeing, I do know some of the people that are lurking. They're not all bots. But that's okay. I don't mind. Capital World. I am doing something that's a little simple. It's not the most exciting, of course. Customs Frigate. That's a useful ability. Yeah, like my one mod that still seems to be lurking. I know that they just she just moved. Either just moved or is about to. And like she's lurking. She's tired. But Death World just looks cool. I feel like a hollow portion just makes this look that much cooler. Like pod. Ah, nice. So these ones on focus. So these are hero cards. An optional addition to the game that came out later. Uh, when you grab them, they stay permanently in play, much like bases do, unless destroyed. So in this case, they don't get destroyed. And then you just choose when you want to initiate their ability, which is scrap based. So on your turn, at any point, you can just be like, "Hey, I want to scrap a card from my hand or discard pile by removing this one from play." So the hero cards are kind of fun that way. Sometimes they have two abilities, like when you acquire the card, it does an effect, and when you scrap it, it does an effect. War Elder. A lot of them, despite the fact that they look the same, just do the same. Look different, sorry. Do have the same effect because it's like, it's a thing. War Elder. I already showed that one. I knew that. Admiral Ramusen. I guess this is like the way that you do see the species that are part of each faction. Kind of forgot that this was even a thing. That's how smart I am. Hunting Captain. Theo Torres. I love that. Just at any point, heal yourself by 7. The best part about the hero cards is you don't need to have other factions of that type in your deck to purchase them. So anyone can purchase them and then use the ability whenever. Since they activate allied abilities for their particular faction, you're better off grabbing the ones that you can make use of in both ways, not just the initial ability. Oh, I just realized that's a double. I can see some of the blob species. Blob Overlord. Because, they gotta be all funky like. Ram Pilot. I already showed it. Now, these Gambit cards, another optional thing that you can add. What's nice about these is you can do this in multiple ways. So with the Gambits, you can do it where you choose a handful of cards to give each player, or you shuffle them up and each player draws like a couple Gambits. Or if you're playing with somebody that is new to the game, like if I had somebody over and they were playing this game with me for the first time, they've never played it before, I would hand them a couple of Gambit cards if we were playing against each other. Might hand more than 2, who knows? Because these are cards that affect gameplay, potentially, or they give you some type of advantage, or it's just an extra ability that you can choose at some turn, at some point, to just activate, because it's scrap-based ability. So, like, some have a permanent effect, some have scrap-only effect. And I would want to give someone who's just starting out with these cards to be like, hey, give yourself a leg up me, handicap myself, because the fact that I already know how to play, you're learning. I don't want the game to be over quickly and me just to make it super, like rub it in. I want to give you a chance to do stuff. Of course, I'm not going to just like go for all the powerful cards and destroy the person because that's just rude, but also make sure they got a fair shake. when learning. So this one's Bold Raid. Just at some point, they can destroy a base and draw a card, which is useful as heck. This energy shield is definitely one I would give every new player that's coming up here. It's just there is a permanent effect where whenever you're attacked, but not your bases are attacked, it's like you're attacked directly, reduce the damage by 1. Just gives you some survivability. Ooh, this is a Gundam theme. This is for build fighters, if I remember correctly. Another permanent advantage card. Each turn you gain 1 combat. So you always do at least 1 damage every turn. One may not be a lot, but all of it adds up. Political maneuver, scrap and gain 2 trade. Rise to power. Scrap, gain 8 health and draw a card. That's all those. I'm just going to check for any double sleeved again. Because that was my last pack of sleeves too, so it's like, fuck. I need to go. I'm going to have to order more sleeves that are Star Realm themed. And stuff. But I think I have some basic sleeves so I can still open up the other cards. A little fucked up on that one. Absolutely. I definitely got some random Disney songs in here. I won't deny that. Okay. Here's which pack should I? I'm wondering if the other deck that looked like it was just more player hands is actually the one I want to open. Or I do. I'm gonna run out of sleeves quick. May not even have enough to get all the machine cult in, so I may be going for things sooner rather than later. Uh, I know exactly where it is. I won't be long, but I will be right back as I grab. I have a case with like my other collectible cards, but I know I have card sleeves in a container in there. So just grabbing some generic sleeves that are not themed. Oh, you're gonna. No worries. Have yourself a good one. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be continuing shortly, but maybe I'll see you next time. Okay, I am back. Unfortunately, I am also back a little empty handed. I thought I kept a container I was looking for, which was buried, and I had to move a bunch of shit, and I dug it out, and I opened it up, and the container that should have been inside the larger container wasn't there. I know I had it out at one point because when my kids started getting into Pokemon cards, I was trying to give sleeves for her fancier ones. But I don't know what I did with it, so I don't have the rest of my sleeves. Yeah, that bugs me. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm not going to open up these last two because I don't have enough sleeves for all the cards in them. But instead, I will pack up what I have set up a little more neatly. Go here. Uh, unless I am totally. That spot isn't even part of the base. Okay, so personal decks are supposed to be these sets of. I think that's what the personal decks are supposed to be. Are the scouts and vipers? Could be wrong. Fairly certain. the personal deck dividers are meant for the Scouts and Vipers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2. No. Yeah, oddly enough, it doesn't even have the full. Yeah, I think that's exactly what that is. Cool. That's amazing. Base deck. I'm next. Just gonna double check that all of these are base set, but I'm fairly certain they are. Okay. Gambits. Hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't just refer to it as sideboard normally, but I guess they didn't decide to provide extra fighters for the different sets they included, which is actually a little disappointing, but it is what it is. Well, this for the time being, place in everything like that. That is a little disappointing about the stuff, but what can you do? Really, those can sit on top of there. Super smooth if I so choose. And they seem to want us to put our normal set and our collector set all in the same box, which is kind of funny, but oh, right, forgot the game board and such. I do like that they created such a more in-depth rule book than how it used to be, because it was very minimalistic before. It's still so pretty. I'm still happy with it. Little annoyed that I didn't get enough sleeves to do this all in one go. But hey, that just means more content, because it just means I'm going to do another one where I'm doing the rest. In the meantime, let's make use of the time another way. See. Let's do. Oh, this one because I want to discourage my cats from climbing on it. There. Normally, I don't care if my cats drop on stuff, but since I like those things, phone is no longer being used as a camera. Put up my gaming PC.